Well, it's a lovely day, absolutely beautiful. Look at that nice blue sky, and there's a nice lady who is part of the Midland Bernese Swiss Carters, whom you'll get another look at in the arena later on today. It's been about 4 or 5 years since I last paid a visit to Rushden's Cavalcade, and you will see by this video that it caters for all tastes, especially those with the organ. Well, to me that was the best organ there that day. See what you think when you hear the rest of them. This is about 10:30 in the morning, and we're wandering around the site, which covers 3 or 4 fields, and most of these items at the moment are static, but we will see some arena events after lunch, when we've had a big fat hot dog and a lovely cup of tea. We also made some purchases because there's a big market here, and antique stalls, junk stalls, lots of things to buy, candy floss, buns and cakes and fish and chips, and besides that, of course, there's classic cars, as you see here. There's also motorbikes, pedal cycles, army vehicles, buses, coaches, lorries, steam traction engines, steam rollers, and for the children, a giant fun fair.
Martin, that was Liam's first time out. One of those.
I will add, in the background you can hear a helicopter. Yes, the inevitable helicopter ride. Well, what do you think to this miniature fairground? Wonderful work of art, you know. These are some of the classic cars. I can't remember, either they've just been in the arena on show or they're just going. And here's some small scale traction engines. These are all hand built. Absolutely incredible. What a lot of patience some of these people have got. Well, these of course are some of the classic vehicles, the classic lorries. And just in case you're interested, the little bit of organ music that I'm putting on in the background is played by a fellow called Nicholas Martin. My father recorded this when Nicholas Martin was only about 12 or 13 years old. I understand that he's now become a very well-renowned organ player. Well, I think that'd take your leg off pretty quick, wouldn't it? Well, that's the travelling van that used to be towed behind the steam engines, and the men who were working on the engines used to live in that caravan for weeks on end. And I know because my father was a foreman working for Grundy's of Kettering, driving traction engines all over this country and in Ireland. See the big wheel in the top of the picture there? All the fun of the fair for the children. Well, this is the radio controlled boating pool. Well, here we meet Fred Dibner, I always call him Dinbar, Fred Dibner, who made his name by doing a TV programme when he was a steeplejack.
Victorian documents and looking at the writing. I mean, that would just... And yeah, it's beautiful. Right.
I am led to believe that they paid a couple of £1,000 to get him to be the guest celebrity. They also had to transport this steamroller down, which is his, and also his girlfriend of the moment and 2 children, and put them up in a hotel for the weekend.
Has he been playing with the dubstep?
Well, there's his steamroller. He's quite a character, actually. He doesn't do steeplejacking or blowing up buildings anymore. He's now a celebrity. He does baby shows, dog shows, and makes his money. He doesn't have to work his butt off anymore. So he's done well, and good luck to the man. amazes me how all the brass shines on these locomotives. Absolutely beautifully, lovingly cared for. We're just having a general look around now and have a little listen to Nicholas Martin. Weren't all that many organs at this cavalcade this year. Well, this lad's only about, I don't know, 10? If he's that. They start them young these days, don't they? Well, there you are, Nicholas Martin, when he was 13 years old. Could certainly play that organ, couldn't he? Well, this is to prove that I'm walking about. Ha ha, my deliberate mistake. In a short while you're going to see all these steam engines going into the arena to do their parade. This is a nice shot with the man and the boy. Well, there you are, some of our feathered friends, birds of prey. That's the best shot that I got of these. Very difficult to get a look at them because there were so many people around, and of course the children were wanting to hold them.
There's some digital we hang. I mean, we hang pheasant one thing another until it's going back.
Headlamp radiator grill. Now we'll move on to viewing 1951 vehicle.
Well, we're taking a look now at some of the static armoured vehicles. You'll see some of these in the arena later, and it's very difficult because when the commentary is being made, I'm not actually filming the vehicle that the commentator is talking about, so it's pretty hard to follow. But these and all the vehicles, this is the ARP, the Home Guard. This is their little part. My father was actually in the Home Guard during the war. Showing some of the guns that they were using during the war, and in a moment a few more of the vehicles. These vehicles are all kept at the Duxford Air Museum near Cambridge. Well, these are some of the lorries now, getting ready to go into the arena. We didn't actually film these in the arena because we weren't close enough.
And you make on a big wheel with the rest of your parts. If anyone else is listening to this, these two boys looking around rather lost. One of them is 7.5 years of age, wearing navy jumper and blue trousers. The other is 9, wearing orange grey and a red sweatshirt.
I'll tell you one thing, a show of this size takes one hell of a lot of organisation, and there's thousands go to see it.
Thank you very much indeed, Ben.
Well, this was our first visit to the arena, and as I mentioned at the beginning of the film, this is the Midland Bernese Swiss Carters. We only just managed to get there in time. I must admit I got browned off with that damned helicopter around all the time. It's just a horrible sound. It just does get on your pip. Right, these are some of the army vehicles coming into the arena, and although it was a 3-day event, only on the final day when we went did they actually parade all these military vehicles together in the arena. The total cost for Duxford Museum to bring all the army vehicles here was £3,000. So it just gives you some idea, and they've all been restored, but apparently they are so unreliable. They never know when something's going to happen to one, and you know, it can thoroughly muck up the whole event.
We'll be coming into the arena later on, I've no doubt. Cavalcade from Bermuda.
Yes, but the Navy seem to specialise in high fuel consumption vehicles, don't they?
Yes. He's got his own secret.
In oil well.
Well, in fact, some of these AMCARs were used as oil well tractors, weren't they? If I remember rightly, out in the sandier parts of the world.
This one incidentally was sent to Libya in 1968, and that went on to Cyprus 1969 to 1971, and then shipped back to this country. It was attached to the 19th Tank Transporter Squadron RCT and was sold from the Army.
Incidentally, there weren't two of these. This is doing a second trip around the arena.
Heavy metal, an old coffee pot Scammell. Following on the Antar, known as the coffee pot Scammell because of that header tank on top of the radiator, in common with the front mud guards, which actually articulate with the axle rather than being fitted to the body, and the typical Scammell walking beam rear axle. This gives the vehicle the ability to operate over very, very, very rough terrain indeed. In fact, it can operate over terrain where possibly only tracked vehicles would otherwise be capable of working. It's got I think that this one's got the REME badge on the front, if I'm not much mistaken, the Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers. It's known as Marion. Now, I think this is a Scammell Explorer. I always get confused as to whether it's... I think, if I remember rightly, and I'm probably about to be corrected on this one, the Explorer is the 6-wheel.
Well, you can see there amidst a great cloud of... is that diesel powered, James, do you know?
I think it's probably one of those multi-fuel engines that will run on almost anything.
Old engine oil, old socks, anything that...
No, Michael, it's your old socks that we put on the in the fireboxes of the steam engines.
We don't want to tell everybody that, do we?
Well, no, I suppose it might clear the arena, actually, the thought of being subjected to the smoke from your old socks. Might even overcome green-black vehicle. Was built in 19
It's an ISU 152. Its history, I could spend all day telling you the history, but we haven't got time. So basically, it's a 152mm gun tank destroyer. S1 self-propelled gun. And the next vehicle which came in, the green one, is another member of the family. If you can see the similarity between the wheels and the tracks and the shape. This is what is generally known as an MTLB, which is a light track vehicle of the Russian Army. This particular vehicle has been adapted to use as an artillery from the opposing forces. As they fire their guns, the radar on this vehicle can pinpoint that point by the shell in flight. It would then instruct the crew of the 2S1 that location, and they would fire on the opposing enemy's artillery. The next vehicle into the arena, running around, is a six-wheeled amphibious vehicle called a Gecko. Its job is to destroy enemy aircraft. It has 6 SAM missiles on board. It has a radar which can identify those targets 30 kilometres away. Until the Gulf War, British forces have never actually ever seen one. It is what is known as a GCMU, electronic warfare machine.
These tanks churned up the farmer's field something terrible, and they did apologise for this, but later on you'll see that the steamrollers come in and roll it virtually flat again. It's quite incredible.
It's a six-wheeled standard Russian truck of the 60s, 70s, 80s. This particular one has been adapted as a mobile power station. It has 2 generators in the back with a combined capacity of 60 kilowatts. Well, I'll leave the rest of the vehicles to come around and park up, and then I'll tell you a bit more about the rest of the vehicles.
I will add that one of these vehicles, the driver had a hole the size of a postage stamp in which to look through, and he had to be directed in and out of the arena.
The next vehicle in the line is our Scamel Explorer recovery vehicle.
Investigate his radio microphone back because we have traced the source of the interference, and I think Michael's going to have something to say about that shortly.
Indeed I am. Well folks, believe it or not, it was Fred Dibbler himself causing the interference. He's got a marvellous video camera and complete with a radio microphone, and it was the radio mic while they were recording that was causing interference with our PA setup here. Now we've sorted that out. Fred's turned the video off. I ask you, a television man causing us interference?
Well, we've now got the steamrollers and the traction engines all coming in, and doing the line-up, it's a little bit difficult because, as you can see, the sky has now changed colour and it's very overcast, and the lighting is not good at all.
Now can I ask all you good folk, spectators, to please get behind the second rope. The 2 ropes are put there for your safety, and if you can move to the back of the second rope so that you've got that clear gap between you and the second rope. Well, you can see within minutes the steam engines, especially the rollers, are rolling our turf beautifully flat. We've had a marvellous weekend weather-wise. The rain clouds rolled away, and despite it being a little bit chilly, it certainly warmed up from lunchtime onwards today. Why did he call it Betsy after his mother? He said, you seldom change your mother, do you? and will be available later this afternoon. Busy signing autographs of souvenir photographs and postcards and selling copies of both of his videos. Both highly recommended and both highly entertaining. And of course, don't forget the models of yesteryear have produced a special limited edition.
Well, that's Fred with his roller, and he's going to stop right in front of us because he's got to change gear because his wheels are bedding down in the earth.
He's got to change gear here.
This is another one having to change gear. See how they go down in the soil?
Ready for the grand parade. You see, they've got sometimes even heavier machinery than some of those tanks. Rolling quite flat, billiard table style, turf, almost as if it never happened. For he's driving his own steamroller, the Oakley and Porter 10-ton roller Betsy, once used by Flintshire County Council.
Now just look at the size of the rear wheels, and my dad used to tell me some wonderful stories about his days driving traction engines, and he once spread-eagled himself pressing his feet and hands onto the inside rim of a wheel like that and went round and round while the traction engine was moving, and that happened near Harpenden in Hertfordshire? Yes, Harpenden in Hertfordshire, halfway between Luton and St Albans. Another youngster having a go there, look. Love it, don't they?
I've not seen a lot because I've spent most of the bloody day writing in commentary.
We plough the fields and clap.
Yeah, well, it's a bit sad that really. I don't think that there are any bad traction engines, you know, they all...
That's Fred Dibner talking.
If you're an engineer or a person who likes mechanics and you look at them, they've all got the good points and they've all got the bad points. Burrows have got some beautiful points.
Tell the crowd that
Burrows have got some beautiful points.
tell the crowd a bit more about what's happening to you just lately. What about the TV front? What's happening on television?
They've decided now to make me into some sort of television presenter where we're going to go around to a few museums and have a look at
Seems to me that the wives get involved as well.
Be able to go on clapping these enormous tall chimneys. Well, since I give up smoking and became a vegetarian, well, 12 years ago, climbing up chimneys and getting 5 ladders up and actually having physical pain in the chest and thinking, bloody hell, you're knackered, man, you know, I've got 3 lines to go. And, you know, I'm sort of, I'm still quite there, you know. Well, you're fine, Fred, and we're very pleased to see you down here this weekend, complete with Betsy the roller. Now, I told everyone that it's named after your mother, Betsy. She died some years ago and there's no comeback, you see. If you call it after your wife, you can never tell what's going to happen. I believe your engine has changed names times. It does. Enough said, folks. You don't want to change names several times. Right, well, there we go. We are being filmed for this, especially Fred, so we've got to be careful what we say, haven't we? Yeah. We don't have to shut all the doors. Oh, yes, I'll be on my best behaviour as long as you promise to be. To give you a commercial plug, I think you're signing autographs because you... Hey, well, I was 2 videos and a few postcards left. Where I've been sat over there since 9:30 this morning, for completely right through till about 1:45. And not seeing a lot of anything. I want, actually, they make boots round here, don't they? Boots and shoes, yes. Well, I won't buy a pair of boots before I go back to Lancaster. I'm sure you'll find a pair in Rushden, just down the road. Fred, so far, a big round of applause for Fred. Mike. Now, I'm not look at the other engines. Now the next one, a found tractor owned by David Davenport, who acquired it a few months ago, a nippy little machine.
As you can hear, they were having quite a lot of trouble with the radio microphones. There's that young lad.
1910, and it's a local product, built at Globe Works, now demolished at Northampton. Followed by Jim Rochester's very neat little 1914 Burrell gold medal tractor, and a man here with his team who run the Hollowell Steam Rally, Alan Eaton. Alan, would you like to say a few words to the audience?
Yeah, if you think you've seen a good line-up here of engines, come to Hollowell. On top of that, we can show you 20 heavy horses, thousands of other items, and hopefully we'll have lots of sunshine.
Thank you, Alan. Well, I admire your... and we might have a wedding, yes. That's for it.
When we can shoot them.
That was a little joke there about James and Sarah's wedding, which might or might not take place this year, certainly will next year. I've got to be very careful walking amongst all this machinery. The Burrell Princess, owned by Alan Mead, all the way from Barneston near Braintree in Essex, standing next to the little racing McLaren built by J&H, but half-size McLaren engine passes me, called Gantic, named after the full-size version, Gigantic, built in 12 months, would you believe, by Mick Cox from... Mick is a brilliant builder, usually turns out one steam model every year, and incidentally the biggest engine of the lot that trundled by and is parking up is the Fowler ploughing engine, the Z7.
Well, it's this sort of engine that you're looking at now that my father was greatly involved in, and I'm sure that these were used for dredging and things like that. They actually dredged new lakes in Northamptonshire, and they're still there today. One that I do know of, which was Blatherwick.
And then sold to new owners. Meanwhile, the models have come in as well. They've got to have a share of the limelight, and we've got all shapes and sizes of models out here. we've got quite a lot up today. Now the Fowler Showman's engine, which is just trundling past me at the top end of the... I'll say that again, because I've almost got my by a 3/4 scale Foden tractor. The Fowler Showman's engine come on Cornwall this weekend to be present with us, and is the oldest surviving Fowler Showman's engine in existence. Built in 1902, it powered rides on the fairgrounds, and then when the rides were packed up, hauled them around from site to site.
Well, with the little miniature engines coming in now, we're coming up towards the finale, so hope you've enjoyed this. It makes a change from steam trains, doesn't it?
Thank you, Russell. Do I get 10 out of 10 for that, or a brownie point?
A brownie point.
Brownie point. 4.5 inch scale Origin, modelled on the last production version of the full-size engine.
Yeah, I believe that's correct, Michael, called the Rochester.
Now I see you've got a full complement of passengers, but they're not all your... No? Right. Well, he's gone microphone shy, so I'll say it for him while I hold his hand. Right. All you folks on the steam engines, can you give the 20th anniversary vintage Cavalcade here at Higham Ferrers a good long blast on your whistles? Hey, see...